Hi, and welcome to the next edition of the Check-In Podcast, where we're talking about leading well-being at work and at school. We're talking with community builders and leaders about what it's like to lead well-being in different organizations. Today's guest, very excited, is Mr. Steve Evans. Steve, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Nelson.
Steve, maybe tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I'm at Laurie Insurance Group. I head up the employee benefits and group retirement division of the organization. I've been in the employee benefits and group retirement space for a long time, since 1997. And really, my focus working with clients is to make sure that their employees have all the resources that they need at the time when they need them.
So Steve, first question out of the chute is what does well-being at work mean to you?
Yeah, it's a loaded one, right? It's a big question, but I think, Nelson, when I look back early in my career, well-being at work meant being productive, being resilient, getting through long days, the deadlines, the constant pressure. And, over time, that definition for me has evolved a little bit. And for me today, well-being is more sustainability, right? Having the energy, the clarity, psychological safety is something we talk about a lot. To do a good job over a long period of time. I guess it's about feeling respected as a whole person, not just valued for your output. And I feel, over the years, when people feel supported, trusted, and seen, the performance actually improves, right? And we're not going down the road of burning out people.
Absolutely. Can you share something that your organization does, big or small, that helps support mental well-being in the workplace?
Yeah, so here at Laurie, and again, I've been here just coming up on 10 years. It's always been about treating people like you would treat the people that you consider family. And early in my career, I saw well-being mostly through, as I mentioned, the lens of performance, right? And I think over time, I've come to understand it's about sustainability and belonging. And so, one of the things that our organization does is, look at our values, right? Culture is not just a slogan; it's lived every day, within the organization. And so, giving back to the community is something that we feel helps with people supporting their mental health and the culture within the organization. So, for example, every year we provide each employee 1 day of caring to get out in the communities that they live in and volunteer and support the charities that are near and dear to their hearts.
Awesome. What do you think? What do you think today's leaders? What's a challenge you think they're faced with when it comes to like wanting to provide that kind of space or create that kind of same space that you're talking about?
Yeah, so I'm not in HR, but if I talk to my HR colleagues, it would be you can't fix everything for everyone. And as a leader, I've started to realize that, the intention is there, but you just can't fix it all. And, often we want to solve problems quickly, but well-being doesn't always work that way. So I've learned that listening is an art, and without immediately jumping to solutions is very important. Creating space, being consistent with your team, and following through, right, on the things that you say matters more than having really the perfect answer for everyone. So I think sometimes the best leadership is just being present and not losing the human element.
So how do you personally recharge your battery, Steve?
Yeah, that's something I've learned to do. I didn't do it very well for myself in my early career, but one of the things, and if you follow me on LinkedIn or any type of social media, you can see that I love the outdoors. I've learned, and sometimes the hard way. I mean, I can't pour from an empty cup, right? Nobody can. So for me, protecting my mental health means boundaries, reflection, perspective. And for me, that's stepping away from email. It's spending time with my family. But the one thing that really helps me is getting out into nature and taking a hike. And that's something that I've instilled. It's a non-negotiable in my world, and I always make time for it. And that helps me maintain the mental health through everything that goes on in our life.
Awesome. There's two things to that. In the Capillary Wave for Men, the charity, we did something called forest bathing. I'm
Hmm.
not sure if you've ever heard or came across.
No, I'm intrigued.
Yes. Now, if someone were to ask me 5 years ago, Nelson, do you want to come forest bathing? I'd be like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But like now that I'm in this mental health space, and I appreciate the things that aren't the common. So there's a lady, it's called come to the forest.ca. She's out of Cambridge. She hosted about 15 of our guys. She basically has this acreage where she's converted into, I wouldn't say an oasis, but just a natural thing. Like she's an environmental scientist by trade. So you basically walked into the forest, you're not allowed to talk. And then there's stations along the way that you would have conversations. But man, I tell you, within 10 steps of walking in, like you were transformed into a different space, especially not being able to talk or anything, and just hearing and listening and looking. Um, it was awesome. All the guys raved about it at the end of the day. And it's just like this kind of, you're just basically washed within the forest, right? And I know that can sound hokey to some people, and be it whatever it is, but I can tell you, man, it is transformational. Like you literally just, you like wash away all your challenges or troubles for the day and stuff, right?
Yeah, in
So
fact, early on when I started hiking a number of years ago, it was like what most people do. They throw the headphones on, listen to their tunes and enjoy nature. And what I've realized is I no longer do that, and it's actually made me a better listener because you're in touch with what's going on around you,
yeah,
right? Your point earlier, all the sounds, that you're hearing, and a lot of the natural sounds that you hear, in the woods or on a hike or when you're outdoors is very calming and relaxing, and actually starts to fill your cup as opposed to taking away from it. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. I'll definitely look into that,
yeah,
to see what that's all about.
highly recommend. What advice would you give to today's leaders, to help them support their teams?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've had some really amazing mentors in my career, and I've kind of taken little pieces from how they led, and then look at some of my colleagues and peers within the organization here and outside. And I think it all boils down to start with trust and empathy, right, as opposed to judgment. Um, you don't need huge programs to build what we call thriving culture. You just need consistency, honesty, and care. Um, and like our team here, we have one of the greatest HR teams, I think, around. And that's not just saying because I work here, that they are truly, they built a thriving culture around trust and empathy. Listen more than you speak, right? Again, that whole listening piece. Be curious. As Ted Lasso said, be curious,
Mm,
not judgmental. Culture is shaped in small moments, not large rollouts. And how you respond when someone is struggling just matters as much as how you celebrate their success.
yeah. Oh, I love the reference to Ted Lasso. Like, I think it should be mandatory that everyone has to watch that show. Like,
Absolutely, so many great lessons in there.
so
Yeah,
many, and they're just subtle, and it just really makes it like you said, you don't need grandiose kind of things. It's just the subtleties and the humility, go a long way. Um, so when and if the day comes that you decide that you want to hang up the proverbial pen, what would you like the people that worked with you and for you? How would you like to be described by them?
yeah. I think authentic, right? Um, I've seen it in my career in the past. I don't believe in leadership masks, and you know, people can sense when you're genuine, and authentic, and over time that builds trust.
Yeah,
Uh, when we show up as ourselves, our strengths, our imperfections, all of it, right? I think it allows others to do the same or feel that it's okay. Um, you know, and really the imperfections, right? It's how you react when things are not going the way anyone anticipated them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think over time all of that builds a lot of trust.
Awesome. And let's bring this home with the last question, and that's what gives you hope about the future of well-being in workplaces?
So I have to put a plug in for where I am today, but in what we do with employee benefits and retirement, especially on the employee benefit side, we deal with leaders every day, right? Finance leaders, human resource leaders, and I think companies like ourselves at Laurie Insurance Group, we prove that strong performance, and human-centered leadership, kind of the things that we talked about a little earlier, they're not opposites, right? More leaders are recognizing things like the well-being culture, community impact, which we are, me personally and the organization are all about community impact. And these are essential to long-term success. They're not distractions from it. So I would say, recognize well-being, get involved in the community. All those things build your culture and contribute to your success. And I think that shift, Nelson, towards more authentic, more value-driven leadership, I think it's inevitable. I think that's what we're going to see, especially as the younger generation come in and take over the roles that we currently have today. You're going to see a lot more of that.
Yeah, awesome. I think when we talk about value-driven, and let's talk like using that metaphor, now that I'm in this space of mental health and talking about it a lot, I always relate it to, let's say it's a Formula One race car and the engine is mental health, but you got your four tires, and it's your physical health, your emotional health, spiritual health, and physical, right? And if one of those tires is down, that's going to affect the performance of the car, right? Now, when I talk spiritual health, much like for me, it's my faith. For the next person, it could be the hiking in the woods and the energy and the like, whatever that is that moves you at your core, at your soul level, right? Now, if you can get each one of those tires inflated, performance just comes. You don't have to, you don't have to worry about it per se.
Yeah, everything's got to be in balance, right? Everything's got to be in balance. It's a great way to look at it. That those kind of four pillars, within your world, they need to be in balance. One's off, you're not moving forward very smoothly.
Yeah, exactly. So, Steve, thank you so much for joining us. I truly appreciate it. All the best to you, your family, the organization, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Awesome, Nelson. Thanks so much for your time, and I love that you're doing this sort of stuff. It's great for an additional resource for people out there. So thank you.
Awesome. Cheers.
Cheers.